Hi, this is our getting started video with SiClone. So SiClone, to create one, you're going to need to go to the creation panel in your control panel, go down to geometry and slide down and find SiNi software. And this is where you'll find our 4 object plugins. So simply create a SiClone, drag an icon out in the center. And then to get started with SiClone, the first thing that you're going to need to do, since this is a scatter along spline, is pick a spline. So we're going to simply pick a spline that we want to scatter down. And there are 2 types of scattering that you can do down these spines. You can do a sweep, or you can scatter objects down them. So the way SiClone works is the material is on the distributed objects and splines. So if we were to go into distributed sweeps, pick a sweep, it's going to sweep that down and remap the texture that is on that spline. For objects, it's going to scatter those down, but you're not going to see the material on there until render time. So each section has its own settings for, say, object spacing, object transformation, where you slide it around, up and down, rotations. The sweeps themselves, you can flip the objects, you can flip the normals, you can offset the start amount, you can offset the end amount, and you have those same transformations of sliding it around. So very easy plugin to use. So going through from the beginning, so the first thing is once you've added the spline in, there is a couple of different things that you'd want to look at. So you might want to have on follow spline orientation or direction. So if your spline curved around, you'd want those objects to follow that. Also, if it went up over top of humps, you'd want orientation on as well. So that would they would all point in the right direction facing out. We have our display modes here. So you can simply go down and display as point cloud or pyramid or whatever you're scattering. Scattering types, there are 3 different scattering types that we do. A random pattern. So this is going to scatter all these objects in a random pattern, and they're going to be one after another. Ordered pattern, it's going to scatter all these objects in an ordered pattern. And individual pattern, you can do more complex stuff like scattering objects on top of each other, and they have their own force pattern. Updating can be done here, so you can update all your SiClone objects. If you were to go change the texture or change that object itself, you'd want to update them here. Other than the distributing objects, which you'll have all your transformations and mirroring and scaling, everything in here. Our color variation tab, rollout. This does a color and texture variation on distributed objects only, not on distributed sweeps. Those are one object that goes all the way down the spline, so there's no color variation applied to those, just distributed objects themselves. We have a export to geometry, so you can export the mesh out that you've been building. And we also have a way to save out, import, and export out libraries. So you can, once you've built up a road in your scene, you can save that out or import that in. Now, I recommend that you go through all the more help videos in more detail to go on exactly all these settings and what needs to be done. This is just our basic intro video. So anything else, any questions, please check us out in the forum. Thanks a lot, guys.